Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another ARC video for you guys today. And today, guys, we're going over the Community Crunch, which is a bunch of patch notes. There are tons. And they briefly go over the Excellent Adventure. And straight off the bat, off the screenshot? Yeah, the screenshot, that's what they call it. You can see that there are some of the new chibis that they've brought in. So we've got the Karkanos down here. You've got the Megalodon up in the sky. Yeah, sure. You've got the bunny. You've got what I believe is a Seeker and then a Beelzebufo. Is that a Seeker or is that a Quetz or something? Maybe that's a Tappy. I don't think it's a Seeker. I think it'd be something else. They haven't actually released what chibis they would, but we'll be covering a video on how to spawn them in as well for you guys later down the line when they release them. But yeah, you can see here pretty much it's a upgraded version of the Genesis patch. So much has happened since our last edition of the patch notes roundup. Since then, we've launched Genesis and introduced several improvements and bug fixes. And now they've got close to 300 improvements, changes, and tweaks. Since the release of Genesis, we figure it might be a good time to summarize them and get you caught up to speed. So these are all the patch notes that they've implemented over Genesis, as well as some that they do plan on implementing with this Easter update, because there's a lot going on. So you can see here that they've got general ones: Magmasaur, Snow Owl Mechs, Feroxes, Bloodstalker, Peligornis. We'll briefly go over them. So you can see here the general, they completed a full pass on loot crates to improve the loot variation quality. So that is the loot drops on Genesis that you pay for. I've noticed that there isn't really much of a variation now. It's kind of crappier. Like we got a tier 3 loot crate and we got 18 cementing paste and like 36 stone. And that was it. It was pretty dumb. They also added a debuff to reduce damage to tamed players and structures for a short duration of time after releasing them from cryos. Why it affected structures, I'm not 100% sure, maybe in a radius, but yeah, a little bit of a funky thing. They also added a grind ore function to the grinders, and you can build in mission areas, and flyers can be allowed to fly on unofficial servers. As for the Magmasaur, they made it that you could use the eggs to tame basilisks. Metal ingots are required to shoot projectiles now. As well as that, they changed their projectile speed and gravity to allow turrets to target them in low FPS. As well as that, they changed the ambergris weight to half in the Magmasaurs to assist with raising babies, because the ambergris was actually really heavy and you can only fit like 1 or 2 on them at a time. The Snow Owl players recover 50% faster from the frozen state left by the Snow Owl dive. And they removed the Snow Owl heal effect on enemy players and enemy tamed creatures, which changes the PvP up a little bit. So now you can actually freeze enemies without healing them, which is pretty funny. And going to be pretty, not groundbreaking or like game breaking, but it's going to change a little bit, the meta a little bit. And the Snow Owl dive slow has been reduced to 2.5 seconds. Mechs, they nerfed heavily. So pistol damage versus tamed creatures was reduced by 30%. Sword damage versus tamed creatures and players was also reduced by 25%. And the mech rocket boost should no longer damage tamed players or creatures, which is not too much of a biggie, but the sword and pistol damage reduction is pretty big. Feroxes, they adjusted the Ferox knockback distance for PvE scenarios in which you could move other tribe tames, and you can no longer trap it with a bowler. The Bloodstalker, they reduced the range at which it can grapple to slightly below maximum turret range, so you couldn't grapple outside of turret range, if that makes sense. They also reduced the mobility while over encumbered and the overall feel. I'm still not the biggest fan of Bloodstalkers. I still think they're really buggy to use, but that's just me. Peligornis has also got a really big buff. So their polymer weight was reduced by 80% in its inventory, and they also increased the polymer harvesting by 30%, which is nuts. That's a huge amount of polymer bonus gathering. Rhinos, they decreased the maximum damage scale from 12.5 to 8 when charging. So this massively reduces Rhino's DPS, which kind of sucks. But they also increased the time and distance it takes to charge up to maximum by 20%. So it's going to take even longer to reach 8 times charging. And Rhinos are now affected by Plan Y crowd control. So they nerfed Woolly Rhinos massively, in my opinion. Cluster fragments, if shot by a turret, will now detonate all other fragments from the same originating grenade. You can now craft the tech replicator in the fabricator, which I'm not sure if they mean like the normal fabricator for Genesis, I haven't actually tried this out myself yet because they have removed the tech replicator from the loot crates in Genesis. But yeah, I'm not sure if you can actually craft it straight out of the fabricator now. The fabricator does have the slots to do it. I'm just curious as to whether or not you can. They also changed tech suits, so tech suit repair costs increased by 20%. You also don't take damage from beehives if you're wearing a full tech suit, and they capped the tech suit durability at 1500, and it now scales with the quality of the repair cost. Now scales with the quality. Helena, they changed her a couple of bits, improved the accuracy of cardinal direction when teleporting, tries to avoid turrets, non-allied players, and hostile dinos. Not too sure what the logic behind that was, but they also improved the reliability of traveling with tames and when crafting a large number of items. Missions, they added a bunch of different stuff, navigation, visual components, as well as timers and HUD notifications. Creatures, this is a pretty good one. So schools of fish no longer damage rafts and motorboats, prevented Ichis from stealing cryopods. Hallelujah. That's the seagulls. Those things are a bane to the world of Ark. Parasols no longer detect bodies that are not visible or rendered, and they reduce the cloning cost for the giant turtles. Gachas will no longer auto-consume buff soup and food. So like your brews and stuff like that, they're not going to eat it automatically. Also added the ability to use the Reaper Tailspin while using a gamepad, which apparently wasn't a thing. And insect swarms now give chitin instead of hide, which should have been implemented from the start. Just another thing that they've overlooked. Damage and health. This is a pretty good one. Increased damage to insect swarms by the Beezle Bufo to 2.5. So if you use a Beezle Bufo on the insect swarms, he's pretty much going to one-shot them. By fire, it's 1.5, and they also reduce the health of insect swarms by 50%. They reduce tech claw damage against structures and the area of effect damage on the tech cruise missile. As for the biomes, they significantly reduce the frequency and slightly increase the duration of green rain in the bog biome. Kind of annoying because it's really annoying. They reduced the insect swarms by 25%, added the cooldown between green rain insect swarms, and bat spawns were reduced, as well as collision improvements for meshes on Aberration. Now, as for the bugs, there were a lot of bugs. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll leave them up for you right here so you guys can see it. Pause the video if you want to. And we'll go down here. A couple of them were the invulnerability exploits. They were pretty crazy. You were pretty much invincible for a certain thing, and same for your Ferox. They also fixed the Feroxes staying large indefinitely. There was a glitch where you could keep your Ferox fully mutated for a really long time. There you go. They fixed several mesh holes, bugs, lots of bugs. And yeah, you can see there, I think that's the Ferox exploit I was talking about. And yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff. I'll leave them up for you. You guys can pause it if you want to. And yeah. But guys, tomorrow, Excellent returns tomorrow. We should be getting this video up tonight. And then tomorrow we'll be covering the Excellent adventure, all the new skins, how to get them, and all the new chibi pets. But that pretty much sums it up, guys. Just wanted to quickly go over that for you guys, just in case you weren't aware of some of the stuff going on with the update. And yeah, guys, that's going to wrap up the video for today. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. I got this soda, Remy boys.